questions, order questions, drop questions, whatever it is. So kind of just a fun little way to get live Q&As out. Um, but we'll start with a couple things that I've seen a few people be asking. One is exactly how many number of units are coming with each size. A lot of people have been saying 2.5K small, 5K medium, 2.5K large. It's actually not going to be that this time around. It's a little bit different. So it's going to be um, 4.5K medium, so a little bit less mediums. And then it's going to be a little less smalls, so 2K smalls. And then the rest are going to be larges. Well, classics is what we're calling it now. So it's just shifting a bit, skewing a bit more towards the classic size. Um, and we'll publish those unit numbers tomorrow or the day after. I hope I got those numbers right. 4.5K medium. Uh, yeah, 4.5K medium, is either 2 or 2.5K small and the rest classics. I think two smalls and the rest classics. But we'll double confirm. It's not too much different. The other thing that a lot of people have been asking on this drop is um, shipping. When is it going to ship? So we're looking at shipping roughly the same kind of timeline as the Tarek drop. So about 2 to 3 weeks shipping lead time for uh, shipping to start. So very similar to Tarek situation. Pricing, I'm seeing a lot of people asking about pricing. I'm not sure why that is. It's the same pricing that we've had for the ULX, and it's 189 free shipping domestic, and the same no duties and tax-free international shipping at the same flat rate, which I believe is 14.99. So those are some of the main things we've been getting. So I'll just go ahead and take questions now that you guys have been having, and this will be good practice to get some of these questions out that many others are probably wondering as well. So whatever happened to continuous production ULXs? I'll just kind of go down the list. Whatever happened to continuous production ULXs? I mean, I think it's fair to say we are continuously producing ULXs. The competition is the new generation. Um, it's in the raw colorway, the raw carbon colorway is limited, but we're going to keep making ULX competitions. We're making as many as we can, um, source things in our supply chain, including carbon fiber composite, um, and various, components and things. Will the Starlights ever get web-based software? That's not related to competition, but it's a good question. It won't be. We're not going to be, most likely not going to be doing that. Is there a noticeable difference between this and the previous generation? Will it feel different in games? Yeah, good question. So, there's been a lot of people asking, what's different with this, what's not. On the surface, it looks like not too many things have been changed, but the main cage has been completely re-engineered, redesigned. It's retooled. So even though it's solid sides, it's been optimized in a couple ways, and this is something that not many even of the hardcore people here know about. So a few ways the main cage has been optimized. Um, I'm sure a lot of you remember with ULX batch one, some of the flexing and movement and gap in between the main cage and the bottom shell. I'm sure many of you guys remember that. So the new design of the main cage is actually designed to be compression fitted. So So the main cage actually compression fits with the bottom shell now. So you'll see, if you look at the seams, they're way more refined, way more solid feeling. I mean, there's just not even a situation where you gotta, apply Mylar or anything like that. It's a compression fit all the way through the edges of the seams with the new main cage. So that's one thing that just improves the quality of life and the flex and the feel on the side. Uh, the other thing is there's just more strength through the main cage, so it's not just solid in terms of no honeycomb geometry, but you have additional strength, especially near the front. A lot of people have been with the original ULX, not many people, but some people who grip their fingers on the very front of the sides experienced a little bit of flex there. Um, so that's been strengthened up so you don't have any flex near the side or running through the entire side of the main cage. So the whole side just feels vastly different, even though on the surface it looks like it's just kind of filled in some holes. I would say it's a night and day difference. I mean, this is a whole new main cage that it feels more durable, more robust, and obviously just not having honeycombs gives a totally different experience in game and just how connected you are to the side. I don't know if anybody here has used the old Ultralight Pros or Scream One or Tournament Pros, but it feels, just as solid as some of those um, heavier mice, um, but obviously without adding any weight, and that's where some of the optimizations in the main cage came as well. So all this was done without adding weight. So I think one big difference that you're going to be seeing is through the main cage and just the feel, the durability, the way it feels in hand. It's just totally different than applying grips on the side. So that's one thing. The other big change is the encoder. So, I'm sure some of you know we used the Kale dustproof encoder before. Um, Over time, these Kale dustproof encoders, they're not lubed and the stop wheel, the teeths are kind of grindy. So internal plastic dust would collect and, like over time, maybe over a period of like a year or whatever, uh, did I say teats? I meant to say teeths. Let me clarify. But anyways, so is it tooths? Tooths? What's the plural of teeth? I think it's just teeth.
Teeth.
So so the stop wheel teeth on the kale were very grindy. Um, and internal plastic dust from the stop wheel would actually collect, and over a period of a year or whatever, it could cause the encoder to fail. It would also just not feel very smooth, which in combination with the the wheel, which is obviously optimized for weight, it doesn't have any rubber grip. It just made a kind of weird experience, and now it's much smoother. I'm sure you can't hear this through my microphone, but smoother. It's a Lube TTC Gold dust-proof encoder, more rounded teeth on the stop wheel. So that's a big quality of life difference. The other big thing with the main cage that I forgot to mention actually is when it was completely re-engineered, um, the guardrail mechanism for the clicks was completely redone as well. So I'm sure many people know that one kind of pain point with the ULX original generation was the clicks would kind of wobble side to side. Um, the click wobble, we improved it as the batches went on. They were obviously worse in the first batch of the ULX. But one big thing with this new design with the new main cage is it implements a new PTFE pad on the guardrails of the main cage. So there's absolutely zero wobble because it's basically constantly in contact, but it feels just as smooth. It feels like it's going through air, but um, there's pure PTFE pad. So this is the first of its kind for kind of like a click guard mechanical mechanism, and that comes with the new main cage design as well. So those are the three biggest things that you're gonna feel, I guess, you're gonna notice with the ULX competition is just way better click wobble quality. It just doesn't wobble at all with the PTFE guardrails with the new main cage. The main cage fitment now just being way better. The solid sides, giving a very different feel in hand. It really does feel like a different mouse with solid sides. I think it's been quite a few generations where we have not had solid sides, and I think you know, we realize that even with grip tape, it's still a hindrance. It just doesn't provide that same kind of direct connection and kind of um, mind to muscle to mouse connection that solid sides does. Just doesn't give that same kind of feel. So that'll be a big step for us. And those are the biggest mechanical changes coming with it. So the bottom, there's some small changes to the bottom. It's just a little bit more refined in terms of warp and fitment. There's tolerance changes all around. There's kind of too many to go through, but I'm not gonna go through all of them because the main ones really are the main cage, the click guards, less click wobble, and the TTC Gold encoder. As for the coating, it is a raw carbon. So this is a new thing with the ULX competition is it's got the raw carbon exposed. So you're seeing, all the little tiny details and stuff in the coating. That's every tool mark, every carbon fiber flow, even on the bottom, even though the bottom is not carbon fiber composite. Um, the bottom is an Ultim still that we used, a black Ultim. Even that's still raw. So you see all the tooling polish on the Ultim on the bottom. So the bottom's, a glossy Ultim with tooling polish. You're seeing all the carbon fiber flowing through the material everywhere else. You're seeing, every little tool mark, every little bit of tooling polish. So it's basically exposed and totally raw for you to see every nuance and the story of every single mouse and how the material molds. But with that said, there is a coating, um, and the coating's a new UV clear coat. It's a UV coat. So we've changed coating suppliers. I'm sure some of you guys know our old coating supplier was you know kind of the weakest link in our supply chain. They actually own the WL mouse brand. That was the coating supplier. They actually became the mouse brand. They were originally a coating supplier. They've been our coating supplier for a little bit, and the obviously we weren't happy with the PU coatings and just some of the stuff they've been doing. So, and we just didn't have much control over that supplier. It's kind of the only supplier that we didn't have direct control over in our supply chain. So we've switched now. We have total control over the coding factory, a lot of new abilities to do interesting stuff. The first interesting thing is this UV clear coat. So it's still grippy, it's still a grippy coating. You just obviously see through it. It's non-porous, it's totally hard. It's not going to stain, you know discolor, remove. It's the most robust coating we've used. And the interesting thing is with it, it's actually selectively applied. So this is something not many people here know either. Um, the coating isn't applied everywhere. So the main cage, the sides are all coated. The rear cage is coated on the areas along the edges and the bottom section of the main cage, basically areas where it would be contacting those key areas in your palm where you want grip. The clicker itself is uncoated completely. Um, when we were testing, you know, this coating on the clicker, it actually made it a little too grippy. Some of the feedback we got was that the clickers actually feel nice, feeling a little more raw. Um, Feels a little kind of like the Ultralight 2 Cape Town. So the clickers are not coated, obviously. The side buttons, the wheel, those are not coated. The bottom is not coated. So the coating is selectively applied only on the sides and parts of the rear cage, just kind of to pinpoint grip where you most need it. Yeah, if some people prefer grip on the clicks, that's your own thing. You can always add grips on the clicks, but we found that it felt better without it. Um, Other things, that are carrying over are the Huano blue shell switches, the black battery cables, um, and everything else. All the refinements are still getting polished and improved going from the Pro series. So it's very much a continuous refinement of the ULX with this completely new main cage and encoder and coating. So obviously a lot of people were not happy with the Terra coating, the ASU coating being as porous as it is. Um, God knows our repair team is cleaning a lot of them every day. Uh, we basically turn into a cleaning facility, but it's actually apart from the cleaning, it's actually been really smooth. The only thing we kind of get Tarek and Asus for mainly is cleaning, so we kind of have a little ultrasonic cleaning operation running. So that pain points being removed and addressed. And those are the main things coming in the competition from a hardware perspective, and then everything else from a mechanical perspective. Um, and then on the software side, obviously everybody has access to the new X panel firmware. I'm not going to get into that too much. Um, I'm sure you guys are all playing around with tournament scroll and all the other things, and the new firmware is coming standard to the ULX competition. So yeah, that's all the new stuff with that's new on the competition. It's the first drop of the competition series. The next batch will probably be you know January or something like this. So this is the raw carbon that's going to be limited to the 10,000 units. That question took a while, but I wanted to make sure we went through all the changes. All right, let's see. Next question. Probably have had a lot of questions from that time. So maybe if you want to re-ask questions that I didn't answer, that might be ideal, either from the drop or from the competition itself. What does the coating feel like? Very grippy. It's very similar to if another mouse that um, is on the market that I felt that feels similar is the Lamzu Atlantis. Uh, What weight is the medium and the classic? So all the weights are exactly the same. No weight has been changed. We've updated the weights on the website. So when we're basically just changing the weights to be accurate with the skates and with everything. So they reflect kind of what you'll see on a scale, which is, the 37, 36 grams on the medium and 39 on the classic and um 34-ish on the cheetah. So the weights are exactly the same. They're lighter than the Tarek and Asu, which were heavier due to the coating, but they're exactly the same as the original ULX batches pre uh, pre Pro Series. Okay, next question. Let's see, looking for useful questions here. No questions? Did I answer all of them? I've answered what the coding is like. There was a lot of coding questions. Going forward, will the competitions be coming out in the Guardian and Phantom liveries? No, they'll probably be different. Different cool things we're doing now that we have the new coding supplier. We're actually excited to do some really cool, interesting designs and whatnot. I'm trying to keep the questions to ULX competition. Um, When Discord 40K giveaway. That's true. We're about to hit 60K. Yeah, so let's see here. Can we switch the middle click out? Middle click is this, the middle mouse wheel switch is the same. It's the TTC purple dot. You mentioned the ULX competition will be short turnaround as far as shipping. Yeah, it'll be kind of similar to Tarek, roughly 2 to 3 weeks. Will there ever be custom DPI on the ULX series? We actually have custom DPI built into xPanel. We just have not enabled it just since we don't see why anybody would need to use DPIs outside of the standard range. But I guess if there's enough support for it, we can always enable it. I'd copy ULX instantly if it was enabled. Is that true? People really want custom DPIs that bad?
It's a common time.
All right. Well, I guess if a lot of people want it, let's do it. You heard it here first. Custom DPI, something I've been against basically for 10 years. Can't aim without 833 DPI. I think that's a you problem. But we'll do it. 10 years. 10 years custom DPI. They finally got me. Any plans for more colorways in the near future? Yeah, so the competition will be coming in different colorways. This one's the raw carbon. All right, let's look for other questions. You should rename classic size to large. Keep the class name for classic's gonna stay large, or the large is gonna stay the classic, just because it's not perfectly the Air 58 size, but it's pretty close, and we feel it fits the claw grip category, and it's not really a large, right? Like, it's not a large mouse. The classic size is very much a standard size. It's what it's closest to, like, very popular um, standard size mice on the market. Will ULX competition ever be continuous production? Well, when you say that, you mean like a colorway that stays forever. Um, and we have been discussing that, having just a plain black and white that eventually will be just available forever once we are able to make enough. So once our supply chain and our production kind of ramps up to where we can pump more out, and we're finding we don't want to kind of do these new colorways on each production batch, we'll put some aside and do black and white. So, we are in continuous production. It's just a matter of when does one colorway stay, and when can we get more of it. We've been improving every little improvement, every little change. This new main cage redesign took time, so it puts a big strain on being able to produce more. For 10 years, we've been constantly improving and pivoting and doing new things. Um, I would genuinely say after 10 years, we're finally now finding, genuine end game territory where we don't see as many things as that we want to be doing. So production is going to get a little more stable. It sounds crazy that it took 10 years, but if you think about where the mouse market was 10 years before, when you guys were all using G502s and we came out with the first 60 gram, the first ultralight mouse, it was a big shift, right? Like, you can't go from G502s to basically us creating the lightweight category. The word lightweight wasn't even used. So we had to bring forward lightweighting. We had to bring forward, material science. We had to bring forward all this high-end mechanical engineering that everybody else is pushing to do now. We had to do all of that. So 10 years is really not that long of a time. I mean, just think about the fact that the G Pro, the Logitech G Pro has been around for 7 years, right? So that one mouse is 7 years old. We've been pushing the industry for 10 years. It's actually a short period of time. So I think only now are we kind of settling into end game with designs and with the tech and stuff and with where the ULX competition is. So I think you'll start seeing continuous production naturally. We haven't had an orange mouse in 7 years. I know, orange mouse is definitely. I saw some comments on payment info. That's a good point. It's the same thing as every drop. So no changes in payment types. It's still, Shop Pay, Apple Pay, credit cards. 4 p.m. Thank you, Freedom. 4 p.m. Pacific time. So 4 p.m. Pacific time, that's 7 p.m. Eastern. That's, I think, like midnight or something for EU or 1 a.m., depending on where you are in EU. And that's like very early in the morning Tokyo time. We wanted to do a later evening drop just because people are at, school, work, things are busy in the morning. A later time, people are winding down, settling down, they have a bit of time. It's a bit late for EU, but not crazy. And then Tokyo people can also get up in the morning as well. Are future drops going to be on weekdays or are they returning to weekends? I'm not sure. They both have their advantages and disadvantages. Lead time shipping out once again is 2 to 3 weeks. So we're definitely going to put that piece of info out on social media and have it somewhere because that seems to be a common issue. Is dongle the same? Yep, dongle is the same. Will future ULX comp drops be engraved? Yeah, I mean, we really like this engraving. We think it's actually a pretty iconic engraving. The Starlight engraving was a little too thematic. I think looking at the Starlight engravings, they're cool and they're great for what that drop was and what the whole vibe of that drop was. But the ULX engraving is pretty clean and iconic and just fits the Ultralight X in general. So we are probably going to be sticking with it. Let's see here. Other questions. We've been over most of the drop questions. The countries we're shipping to are the same. So it's still worldwide shipping. One cool thing, I mean, this is a small, tiny change, is the shipping box is going to be different. It's a little nicer. I don't know if anybody remembers the cartons that they get their mice in, but they're taped up a little janky with our logistics and our warehouse setup. Our warehouse got some nice new boxes that kind of like fit the mouse box perfectly. So just better protects it in case, FedEx decides to throw your mouse over your fence or something. Still foam like ASU. You have the inner box still has the foam like the ASU one. We liked kind of how that held the clicks in place and protected it. So, the boxes, we're not, I'm sure you all know, we're trying to be fancy with our boxes. It's more just function over form. So just protecting it, keeping it as small as possible. Yeah, centerpiece is focus after this drop. That's why there's going to be a. Are you going to allocate any stock to Fumo Shop? Sometimes retailers get a little bit of like cancellation drops here and there. We'll see how cancellations look. I don't expect crazy amounts of cancellations. We're not expecting crazy amounts of botters either. If you're there on time, you'll have a good amount of time to get this drop, whether it's half an hour or two. I mean, it could be the whole day for the classic size. Who knows? But as long as you're generally there for the drop, you shouldn't have a problem. It's not going to be It's not going to be unless you want a small size. Then I would be a little more aggressive, just because there's less small quantity and there's less medium quantity. Maybe you don't have to go crazy with it or get a bot. Just be there within a few minutes and you're good. The drops just overall aren't like as crazy as they were back. The times are just a little bit different, right? Gaming industry is a little different, and yeah, these ones will be numbered. We wanted to get back to numbering. I think numbering's really cool. I love numbered stuff. Like if it's limited edition, I think it's really cool. If it's numbered, it makes it feel a little more special. Um, I love the laser engraved numbering. I kind of in the future on stuff would even want to number it on the side in a really sweet way. I know that sounds crazy to have it numbered on the side, but I think numbering it on the side would actually be very cool. We got one person very much against numbering, but everybody else likes numbering and I like it, so we're going to do it. So that is one thing I forgot there. They are numbered. Okay. Any other questions? Let's see. See if we get any good questions coming up. If not, we'll do another Q&A tomorrow, and also afternoons, evenings. We're going to do a few. I'm going to, get the camera on actually next time to show you guys the mouse on a mouse pad, kind of a candid environment. I don't have the camera on right now because I'm in my home office and I don't have the little overhead camera. But I do have the ULX, couple ULX competitions in front of me. I already know what the people are gonna complain about on the ULX competition, which is funny because it's like part of the design. They're gonna be like, "Oh, is this carbon fiber? Why is it like this or that?" I'm like, I already know that's gonna be the thing. Just every line, every little thing you see in this is it's raw material. Um, if you take this out into the light, the carbon is going to um, it's going to be way more visible. Depending on the light, it could look black. But if you take it out into sunlight, you're going to see tons of crazy stuff. Yeah, exactly. Why are there mold marks? I pay $200. That will 100%. I'm calling it now. I'm telling you now. Will be the thing. Like people are going to run out of things to complain about, and it's going to be why are there mold marks? Because you bought the raw colorway. If you don't want the raw, if you don't want to see all the cool raw stuff, don't get the raw. If you want a perfectly even paint job, this is all about seeing the well, if you guys go to our Twitter and you see the post I made with the mouse out in the sunlight, it was one of the posts a couple days back with the Harley motorcycle. It was out in the sunlight. You really see kind of what happens with the carbon. So it looks totally different depending on the lighting. You talk about Razer aping his release date. I mean, we've had other people do release dates with us all the time. I also don't think a $300 mouse that weighs twice as much is a release date like competitor. Is 8K coming out with these? Yes, they're all standard. Um, they're all standard. There's the picture that Freedom put out. You can see. I mean, even there, that's not as visible as the carbon can get. It can get even crazier than that. It's hard to see in the camera, but you see, all those marks there. If you zoom into that image and you start seeing all that little, that's all carbon fiber. This isn't a forged carbon. I mean, forged carbon is actually pretty gimmicky. This is I don't know if you guys saw it in the making of video, but the carbon fiber is chopped up and processed and then mixed um, with a polymer matrix. So it's like it's very low density, very strong. It's it's purpose built for making mice. So the carbon you see is kind of more yeah, a little I guess powder not powderized. I mean, it's still a little streaky, but it's different. It's unique. It's very much its own thing. You don't see the bottom, but if you looked at the bottom looks totally different too. It's because the bottom is not carbon, it's Altum that's just has a bunch of fiber reinforced polymer. Yeah, I mean I don't remember exactly what. I think we put a good it's above 10%, it's less than, 30. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but we have a certain blend of carbon fiber with some other mix of polymers. And then you see, yeah, there's the other picture at night. Um, you can see there it's just darker. It looks totally different. Do you guys like the motorcycle pics? Should we do more of that? Should it just be all motorcycle pics until the drop? What about Cybertruck pics? You guys want to see it with a Cybertruck? No?
Please no.
Okay. So just the Harley. Moto is peak. I agree. Should I ride on the motorcycle while holding the mouse and doing a live Q&A? Helmet cam. I could do helmet cam. I could do a helmet cam. Helmet cam with the mouse in front. That would be hard to do. I don't know how I would do that.
I allowed to post a picture?
Are you allowed to post what picture?
I'll send it to you first before.
Mizu, what are you doing? Are you spying on me?
No.
What is this? No, that's not a ULX competition.
It's close enough.
No, 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 no.
No, no. Okay, okay.
Mizu's trying to post pictures of his old ULX prototype. That's not how the tool looks now.
So it's way different?
It's not way, way different, but it's looks better than that.
Dang.
Mizu thinks he has the raw ULX, but he kind of just has an old prototype. He technically does have a raw ULX, but I'm not gonna I won't mention that the tool was polished better and everything to make it look nicer. Okay, any other questions? Do reviewers have their copies yet? They should be getting it. I mean, we did a little something special this time. We sent the reviewers like the early access. Did anybody see the early access cases that we've been sending to pros and people? It's not the actual box. It comes in like a nice little cool custom Pelican case. Uh, I can show it later, but we sent those to just some special early access people, not technically reviewers. So I think um, Optimum and Bad Seed and Boardsy and just a bunch of pros have that little cool Pelican case, and Rock and Jump Ninja. To be honest with you guys, I don't care much about the reviewer scene anymore. For all intents and purposes, the reviewer scene is dead. There's like 4 reviewers, 5 reviewers maybe. Like what? Like House, Bad Seed, Boardsy, Optimum. That's it. So for all I care, they can have cool special cases and disclose that they got early access and whatever. I mean, it's really the reviewer scene is so broken. It's so messed up. It's just so much shilling and affiliate codes and AliExpress codes and people being bought and paid for and this and that and being included in project. I mean, it's like it's just amateur hour. So like the days of sending out a proper um, embargo date and whatnot and sending things out. I mean, I think that's all dead. So when we say tested by pros, these are the people we're talking about. No, no, there's other pros that are testing. Some of them have been people we've been testing with for 10 years. Scream is one of them. You know, Scream's aim has not gone down at all. It's kind of crazy. I don't know how he does it. Scream and Asu have some of the craziest natural aiming talents. Scream might be injecting stem cells for infinite youth. I mean, his aim has literally not gone down at all. Final bar, are you going to give Elo Shapes credit for using his outlines? I have no idea what you're talking about. Scream put all his points in aim. Would you guys like to see a Scream mouse? Another Scream, a 10th anniversary edition Scream, just throwback, historic. I don't think not many people would be into it, but like kind of like an old kind of throwback. No, there's a maybe that could be something for the 10th anniversary. All right, any other questions? Let's wrap it up in like the next 5 minutes, and then we'll do another Q&A tomorrow. I'll get the webcam so you can see the clicks and see the actual the improvements. The click wobble, the new guardrails, all these things in hand and in person, or not in person, like visually. Final Con still being decided. We really want to have centerpiece at Final Con, so it's still up in the air. All right, and I don't see any new questions. I'm trying to look for new questions, but I don't see a new question here. It looks like we're gonna call. Ooh, nice. That's an interesting looking classic ergo. Will the mouse come with grips? That's a good question. No, it will not. The new coating on the side is so much grippier than the grips. A lot of people complained about the silicone X grips. Um, they are a little bad, when you start sweating, they wear. The new UV grip on the side is just infinitely better to the point that you don't want to be using grips on this. I don't see anybody using grips. Unless you want to add grips to the clicker, but I don't see people using grips on this mouse. Unless you're just one of those grip fanatics. Like I can see grips on the other mice because we have the side honeycombs and they're kind of designed around using grips, but not this one. The grip on the ULX is better. I all that earlier, so I'm not going to be going down that again. All right, let's see, any other questions I didn't answer? Final Con location. It will definitely be an LA location for Final Con. Just we haven't decided on the date. Question about unibody. No, we're not. We're not really looking at unibody. There's a lot of little tiny nuance refinements that we still like to do on the ULX competition. Unibody gets rid of that little seam near the front, but not many people really get their fingers all up there. I mean, it's definitely a thing you see a lot now, but it's not something we find necessary. Like unibody does. I mean, it's not just unibody. There's modern mouse philosophies in mechanical design that essentially improve like click wobble and click feel and durability and things and rigidity and all that stuff. But we're adding all that in our own unique ways um, with this new engineered main cage, re-engineered main cage, for example. So a lot of the things that you guys think a unibody would do, ULX competition is already kind of doing that. I mean, when you feel the sides, you'll see it's not your same ULX. Like this thing is much stronger in hand to the point it kind of feels it's weird. Like it makes it feel heavier because it's more like sturdy feeling, but it's not. It's the same weight. It's a weird little thing it does to your mind. Add wireless signal strength to the dongle lighting options. Why do you need that? Okay, I don't see any other questions. Any questions? How many colorway releases do you plan on doing per year? Unknown. If you want to get, I'll end it on this point, and then we'll call it for tonight. But if you want a ULX competition for the holidays, um, definitely look at this batch just because we're not sure if we're going to be able to get another ULX competition drop before the holidays. So I don't know if you guys really, like, I don't know if there's people here that like getting their final mice around holiday season. But if you're one of those people, then um, definitely look into this one because I don't think we're going to be able to get one in before that, just because we have so much centerpiece stuff that we're doing for the holidays. Cool. I think that was a lot of good questions. We're going to post a lot of these on social media. We'll do another one of these. I'll get the mouse cam working. Hopefully, we can start just doing these going forward and getting them even bigger, almost like the old Instagram lives that we used to do in the Starlight days. But any solution for color change ULX ASU? Yeah, we already discussed all of that. Are you asking about your own situation? If you have a discolored ASU, contact support, send it in. They will run it through the ultrasonic cleaner. All right, cool, guys. Well, I think that was good. That actually went a little over the time limit. Turns out I can ramble quite a bit on mice. But GG's. All right. We'll see. We'll keep doing more. We'll keep posting info. Stay tuned to social. Stay tuned to Discord for drop info. And hope everybody enjoys their ULX competition. See everybody.